I'm back. I changed clothes. I didn't want to change earrings, so I just changed clothes. Okay, I had to mark off the stuff I talked about. Talked about college the first time, talked about the crazy roommate story. Um, I'll save this stuff. Sears Tower. Oh, I know what that's about. I'll wait. I'll save that. That's well, no, I can tell that before I go into the book stuff. We went to my son and I, when we came out here, we came out on the train. I think I talked about that we were going to fly, but the airfare was going to be like almost $1,200 because it was going to be a one-way trip. And so I decided that an 8-year-old boy would love to go cross country on the train. So I wanted to go on the bus because that's still a dream of mine. We did it when I was, oh God, I keep forgetting it, the glare. Um, we went cross country on the bus to LA, the southern route in 1964, 65, something like that. So you can about imagine. Um, they still had those bathrooms colored white, but of course my mother didn't. She took us into the bathroom, the good bathroom. She was like, I don't play that, you know. Even though she had to play it back in her day, she by that time she had 4 kids with her. She was not playing that. And that taught me a lot. It taught me a whole lot, about her attitude, and actually my dad's attitude. They didn't have that humble attitude. They didn't have that. They had restrictions on them, but they didn't just go along with it. They didn't like it. So one of my dreams, since I was only 10 when we did it that time, and I just remember stopping and eating and staying. I don't think I slept the whole time. The same thing with coming out here on the trip out here. I don't think I slept the whole 3 days. It took 3 days. I don't think I slept a minute. Of the whole. When I got here, I was exhausted. Um, and we overnight. But we got to Chicago. We traveled overnight on the train. Next morning we got to Chicago, and we had like a 6 hour um, layover, something like that. And so I told my son, I said, "Well, let's go out and see what Let's go look around. We're adventurous, so we decided to go out and look around." And so somebody that was on the train with us was from Chicago, and she was saying, "Well, the Sears Tower is not very far from you know from uh, from here. You can get there. It's not very far from here." So as soon as my son and I walked out the train station, there was this little double decker bus, like the things they have in England, it's a little double decker bus. And a lady was driving the little bus, and they said, "Hey, you guys want to take a tour?" And we were like, "Hey," and I was like, "Well, hey, we're not from here. Will you bring us back here?" And he said, "Yeah, that the tour, went around, people got off, got back on, but eventually, it would bring us back to the train station." So my son and I said, "Yeah." And I've talked about the book Native Son, and it takes place in Chicago. And they're talking about the boulevards data, because actually Richard Wright actually lived there. Um, um, so it was really interesting having them say, "Oh, we're in the loop now," and we're, because I had read about those places in the book, and it was this one museum, and it had these two lions standing there, and the lions' tails were all it was all the was rubbed off down to the brass. Because it's good luck to rub the lion's tail. So people come by and rub the lion's tail, you know, and had rubbed all the patina off the off the lion's tail. So I thought it was really interesting. And then we went to the Sears Tower. Well, at the time, my son was afraid of elevators. He had gotten trapped in a glass one. It was just a matter of a few minutes, but it had freaked him out when he was really little, and he didn't. He hated elevators. He wouldn't go in elevators. Everywhere we went, he went up the steps. Forget, he went up the steps. It was so, oh my gosh, and he would not go in the elevator. And we get to see his tower, and you could go all the way up. It's the tallest building in the world, and he wouldn't get on the elevator, and I wasn't gonna leave my kid, downstairs like that. in a city I don't know. It's nowhere in the world I was gonna leave my kid like that. So I went to Sears Towers, but I didn't go into the Sears Tower. And then the rest of the train trip, when um we got somewhere and there was the railroad tracks were washed out or something weird had happened. So we ended up having to get off the train and get on the bus. And because they did that, they gave us food. So we stopped at this like a field, kind of like a little park, you know. And my son had his football with him, so he went and got the football, and him and the other kids, were just like they'd known each other all their lives. You turn into a little family when you travel on the bus or in the on the train because you're together so long, you know. And when I'm flying, I don't make friends because when I take that Japan flight, oh my gosh, and I hate airplanes. Ugh, you guys don't know. But now I wanted to talk. Okay, so that was about Sears Tower. So I talked about that. I can do that. Um, good writing. Okay, I have been, like I said, going over. I'm on book 11 now, and if I must say so myself, there's some really good writing. Um, I've noticed. It's like flashes of um, really good, um, especially descriptions. Those are that's one of my fortes. I'm really good at description. And I remember one time my son had to write in high school. He had to write a paper. No, he had to write a story for English class or something like that. And I helped him with the description. And his teacher said, "Hey, you didn't write you didn't write this. You didn't write this." And he said, no, he told the truth. He said, my mom helped me with it. And I remember one time whenever I would tell him when I was going to clean this room, I didn't care. I could close the door. I don't give a darn if you clean your room or not. I want none of those clean your room screaming and hollering parents. I didn't care. I closed the door. I don't have to go in there. Only thing, no food. I didn't want any food in there. But once in a while, when I got tired, I cleaned his room. So I went in. He had been working on a project, a big project for school, and it looked like trash to me. I mean, it just looked like cut up pieces of paper for some reason. And I would never ever throw anything out of his room like that. I don't know why I did that. So he came home and he goes, "Mom, what did you do with those papers that were on the floor?" That's what I think it was. They were piled on the floor. And I would always tell him, if it's something you don't want me to see, I would give him, a warning. You don't want me to see it. Put it away, because I don't go in his drawers or anything like that. So anything on the floor, I guess, was fair game. So I thrown his papers away, and he came back and he goes, "Mom, where's that all that work that was on the floor?" And I went, I threw it away. I put it in the recycler. And he was like, "That was my project from school." So I actually had to call his teacher, and this was back in the day where you could call a teacher. And I explained to her. I said, "Yeah." Now I said, I really did throw it away. It's like, the dog in my day, the dog ate your homework. But this actually was my mom threw my project away. So I felt pretty bad. So I had to help him with his work. And then another time, I had to help him with his work. Um, he had gotten sick and was on antibiotics. And oh, this was years ago. He was maybe 10. So he's 33 now. So you know how long ago that was. And he had got some kind of, I don't know what, and he was on antibiotics. And they wouldn't give them to him at the school. Not even the nurse could give him medication. I had to give it to him. So now what could happen was I could come to the school, and antibiotics, you have to take them at a certain time for a certain amount of time or it doesn't work. So I had no choice but to leave him home for 2 weeks. He had to stay home for 2 weeks because there was no way in the world I was going to come all the way from, I think I was working at Weyerhaeuser then, I want to say, and that's way out. There was no way I was going to come in to give him one pill and then go, back to work. That was not going to work. So what I ended up doing, I had no choice but to, leave him home for 2.5 weeks, something like that. And of course, when he went back to school, he was way behind because there wasn't no computer. I mean, I don't even think we had a computer then, but it wasn't like it is now where you can go online and get your lessons and, do stuff like that. It wasn't like that. So when he went back to school, he came back with mounds and mounds of like homework and stuff. And I think a couple of his friends stopped by and brought some homework or something. So I helped him do that. So that was fun. But it wasn't math because trust me, I wouldn't have been able to help him with that. After the sixth grade, I was done. And I think I talked about having to go into, um, yeah, having to take statistics to get into graduate school, and it was a nightmare. So let me see. I want to talk about, okay, I talked about that, talked about good writing, bordering on brilliance sometimes, some of that stuff. I was reading something, I can't remember what, it was a description. Gosh, what was it? I can't even remember. But I remember sitting there thinking, this is good. This really is good. And once in a while you have to tell yourself your work is good. You have to. And I can look at it and I can tell it's good. I can just tell it. There's a line in the movie Capote. That's one of my favorite movies. And um, the actor Seymour Hoffman was as Truman Capote is talking to Harper Lee, Nell Harper Lee, that Harper Lee that wrote To Kill a Mockingbird. Her and Truman Capote were good friends. They had been raised together. As a matter of fact, her character Jim is fashioned after Truman Capote. And it's one scene in the movie where he's talking to Harper Lee, and he's telling her, all about the criminals and how he's getting to know them and all this crazy stuff and, this stuff. And this one line where he says, when I think about how good my book could be, I can barely breathe. And I don't care where I am, what I'm doing in the house, when he says those words, I stop because it's true. It's true. I'm just so excited about this. And I went through, I'm on kind of looking through book 11 and kind of, sorting through it a little bit. And I'm going to, or is it 10? Oh no, I think, no, 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 I'm on 11. I had done 10. I had gone back and looked at it. But basically at this point, I'm basically editing. At this point, I'm cutting out. It's no more really writing to do. There's a couple of things I want to plug in. I remembered that when my female character meets her old lover from uh, no, I'm not gonna say that's a plot point. I'm not gonna say, but anyway, what to take? Oh yeah, but I was talking about what I'm gonna take. I have a whole what I'm gonna take to the new apartment. What I'm gonna put in storage. I have a bunch of manuscripts. I have one of those tubs, like those storage boxes, like full of just manuscript and paper. I have the first manuscript that's written in handwriting. I have it, which is probably a crazy thing to do. It needs to be in a safety deposit box or something somewhere. But I have that. So all that stuff's got to go. Definitely my desk and my book. This bookcase. I don't know the other bookcase. I may not have to. Um, but I may have to put that in storage. But I am whittling it down. I am um, noticing that I can start with 92 pages, and um, I think when I got through cutting, I was down to like 52 or 50, something like that, because it's a lot of stuff you don't need, and repetition. If you do it one time, you don't have to do it again. You don't have to talk about it again, that kind of thing. But you learn as you go. You don't know, so you learn as you go. Um, but like I said, I just been really kind of reading it and really going, this is good. And like I said before, dialogue was really good. I'm trying to think. maybe I'll look and see what that was. But I just remember, um, reading that description, going, "Wow," you know, and the descriptions of when she has her baby. I write it from everybody's view but hers because that's way more interesting writing about a man waiting for his child to be born, feeling helpless, feeling like, his wife and his baby could, back in that day could, and her mother, my character's mother, had died in childbirth. So of course he's terrified that she's going to die too, and it's all the things he goes through, and it's snowing, he's in a snowstorm, and he's going, trusting to go to get the doctor, and all this kind of stuff, and when he sees his son for the first time, how he feels and all that stuff. So I wrote it pretty much from the man's point of view. Writing it from her point of view has been done and done and done. Okay, I went through it was just ouch. And I didn't take any drugs. No sirree, because they weren't gonna take my baby and bring me some ugly baby. No, I want to be wide awake, wide awake. See everything that goes on. So I write her um giving birth, the whole birthing thing through him. Um, giving birth hasn't changed too much, in the last, I mean, it still has to happen the same way, but nowadays we're we can save babies that wouldn't have had a chance back in her day. But back in my character's day in early 1800s, you would um you would if it was a toss up, unless you had a healthy full term baby, or you were very wealthy. you know some twins did survive, some premature babies did survive, but their mothers could afford extraordinary care, and so and cleanliness, and someone to take special care of them. And so you did your baby born in a farmhouse, the average baby born in a farmhouse in December, in Missouri, in the Missouri territory, maybe not stood a good a chance as her baby did. And he, she, there's a lot about him after he's born and stuff like that. And like my male character, he has they have a lot of, like I said, he's a member of the Indian tribe. They made him a member of the tribe because he took the land that was a sacred place for them, and he just kept the land in trust for them. And so they made him a member of the tribe. So it was a lot of tribal things that, of ceremonies and stuff that they had to do in the, while, the baby was being born. So I did, yeah. So I looked at that. It was something else. The pages are whittling down. Um, oh, that I realized that you can be understood very, very, what I'm learning, I learned so much, is that you can say it so much better by taking out some, I mean, you don't have to spell out every single thing. I'm a person, I do a lot of descriptions. I'm very good at descriptions. And so because I'm very good at descriptions, I want to, you know, you know, set the scene, then have my character set the scene, then have another character set the scene, and then from their point of view set the scene. But see, that's just stuff that you don't see until you go back. But I'm thinking this is the last time until a publisher wants it. I have to get started on the other book. I have to. I'm really excited about it. So I'm like, let's see, it's 1935, 36. So I think I'm gonna let this one go. I'll do one more in this sweater, and then maybe change again. Maybe do, oh yeah, okay, all right, maybe do three more, and then that's it. Because I'll have to do something else in my life.